Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency the Governor General will now address us, after which I will read the instruments of appointment and invite the appointees to take and subscribe the oath of allegiance and the oath of office.
This morning, we are swearing in 3 ministers and the Attorney General as well. This is in accordance with the government's directive and the leadership of our country. We thank you for joining us. And of course, this is a very short ceremony, so we will not keep you in waiting. We will proceed right away with the reading of the instruments and the taking of the oaths.
Mrs. Marlene Patricia Malahoo Fort, Queen's Counsel. Mr. Floyd O'Brien Green. Mr. Franklin Robert Witter. Greetings. Whereas there is occasion for the appointment of a minister other than the Prime Minister. Now therefore, I, Patrick Linton Allen, Governor General of Jamaica, in exercise of the power conferred on me by subsection 1 of section 70 of the Constitution of Jamaica, and in accordance with the advice of the Prime Minister, do hereby appoint you, being members of the House of Representatives, to be such ministers. Given under my hand and the broad seal of Jamaica at King's House, this 11th day of January, in the year of our Lord, 2022, and the 70th year of the reign of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Mrs. Malahoo Fort is invited to the podium to take the oath. The other persons may be seated.
I, Marlene Patricia Malahoo Fort, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica. I, Marlene Patricia Malahoo Fort, being appointed minister, do swear that I will, to the best of my judgment, at all times, when so required, freely give my counsel and advice to the Governor General or any other person for the time being lawfully performing the functions of that office for the good management of the public affairs of Jamaica. And I do further swear that I will not on any account or at any time whatsoever disclose the counsel, advice, opinion, or vote of any particular minister or parliamentary secretary, and that I will not, except with the authority of the cabinet, and to such extent as may be required for the good management of the affairs of Jamaica, directly or indirectly, reveal the business or proceedings of the cabinet, of the nature or content of any documents communicated to me as minister, or any matter coming to my knowledge in my capacity as such, and that in all things I will be a true and faithful minister.
I now invite Mr. Floyd Green to take the oath of allegiance and the oath of office.
Thank you, Minister.
I, Floyd O'Brien Green, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica. I, Floyd O'Brien Green, being appointed minister, do swear that I will, to the best of my judgment, at all times when so required, freely give my counsel and advice to the Governor General or any other person for the time being lawfully performing the functions of that office for the good management of the public affairs of Jamaica. And I do further swear that I will not on any account, at any time whatsoever, disclose the counsel, advice, opinion, or vote of any particular minister or parliamentary secretary, and that I will not, except with the authority of the cabinet, and to such extent as may be required for the good management of the affairs of Jamaica, directly or indirectly, reveal the business or proceedings of the cabinet, of the nature or contents of any documents communicated to me as minister, or any matter coming to my knowledge in my capacity as such, and that in all things I will be a true and faithful minister.
Thank you, Minister.
I, Franklin Robert Witter, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, and that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibility to the people of Jamaica. I, Franklin Robert Witter, being appointed minister, do swear that I will, to the best of my knowledge, and at all times when so required, freely give my counsel and advice to the Governor General or any other person for the time being lawfully performing the functions of that office for the good management of the public affairs of Jamaica, And I do further swear that I will not on any account, at any time whatsoever, disclose the counsel, advice, opinion, or vote of any particular minister or parliamentary secretary, and that I will not, except with the authority of the cabinet, and to such extent as may be required for the good management of the affairs of Jamaica, directly or indirectly, reveal the business or proceedings of the cabinet of the nature of the contents of any document communicated to me as a minister, or any matter coming to my knowledge in my capacity as such, and that in all things I will be a true and faithful minister.
And for disclosure. Thank you, sir.
I now invite the three ministers to stand at the podium. Stand at the podium holding your oaths which you have signed.
Ms. Malahoo Fort, Queen's Counsel, Mr. Floyd Green, and Mr. Witter. I take this opportunity to congratulate each one of you on your appointment to being ministers, and would like to say to each one of you that I hope that you will live up to the confidence that the Prime Minister has bestowed in you to lead in the various ministries to which you will be appointed. Please discharge these responsibilities faithfully and well, so that the people of Jamaica can benefit and the service that you give will be acceptable to all. The instruments that your commission, rather, will be sent to you as soon as we have received, or rather, as soon as the oaths have been deposited in the office of the Governor General. We will then send the instruments to you. We wish you well, and we hope that you will give support to the leadership of the cabinet and to the leadership of the country. And do your part there to the satisfaction of God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite the Most Honorable and Her Highness Prime Minister to give remarks.
His Excellency, the Most Honorable Sir Patrick Allen, newly minted ministers. I'm not sure I should say congratulations. Some may even say it's commiserations. But you have been chosen because I have confidence in you that you will be able to accomplish the tasks set for you. Our newly sworn-in Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs, you have a major task in front of you to reform Jamaica's laws, to start the process of reviewing our Constitution, and indeed, the conversation has already begun about our status as a constitutional monarchy and the change that we would all like to see. But there is a process to achieving that, and we want to make sure that we order all our steps appropriately. And you will have the task of guiding that from the executive perspective. Increasingly, Jamaica is required to comply with our international obligations, which oftentimes mean legislation. And such legislation can sometimes be inconsistent with our own legal framework and our Constitution. And so greater effort would have to be put in to ensure that when we are required by virtue of our treaties and other such things that we are signing on to, that when we do pass our laws here, that they are consistent. The other issue, of course, is the speed of legislation, the speed of development of legislation and passage of legislation. So these are areas in which you will have to focus. It has been a bottleneck for the government effectively and efficiently achieving its mandate. And so in the establishment of this new ministry, we're hoping and putting great faith in you to ensure that we have the wherewithal to make sure that the legislative process is supportive of all the other processes that government undertakes. We welcome back Minister Floyd Green. You will be joining me in the office of the Prime Minister. There are some critical tasks there which you will undertake. One of them is to take charge of the national identification system. The laws have been passed, and we are now in the execution phase. I had the opportunity to tour the production facility last week, and they're almost ready to go. But it needs that kind of guidance. It needs dedicated ministerial attention to ensure that Jamaicans do come on board and participate fully in the national identification system. There are also administrative issues there as well that you will have to pay attention to. The establishment of the National Identification and Registration Authority. So you will have your hands full. And a part of ministerial work, Minister Malahoo, is accuracy. It sounds, I was almost tempted to say your old position, but Minister Malahoo, a part of ministerial work is advocacy. And Minister Green, you will have to do a great deal of advocacy for the national identification system, meaning you will have to be communicating constantly with the public, and you will have to become the voice and face. I also want to welcome Minister Frank Witter into the Ministry of Agriculture. As we recover from the pandemic, we must rebuild our agriculture sector. It requires the mobilization of our farmers and farming communities. And as we see what is happening globally with supply chains and the impact on prices, Jamaica must have the capacity to insulate itself somewhat. We won't be able to do it fully and totally, but we must have local capacity here to supply our food needs. And a part of your job, Minister Witter, will be to mobilize our farmers in our rural areas and our farming communities to ensure that our extension services are supporting them and that they get the support in resources and materials that they need, so that at the local level, our agriculture can meet the food needs of our people. In any government, there will always be need for human resource management. Like a company, like any organization, you have to move your staff around. You have to place people in positions that suit their competencies. And you have to pay attention to what the public that you serve is saying. So this is one iteration of the changes that will have to be made to the cabinet to get us to that point of fulfilling our mandate fully to the people. So there will be more changes to come to the cabinet. Right now, we have focused on getting the government's legislative agenda settled, getting agriculture back on track, getting information back on track, because what has happened in the pandemic is that we have seen an unleashing of a flood of false information, fake news, and a drifting towards, I choose my word carefully, but it would seem that there is a willingness to accept and believe false information. And so the government has to step up its own information and providing timely and accurate information to the public. So we have, in this iteration, addressed some areas of government performance. Later on in the year, or as opportunities present themselves, there will be more changes to come. The government is in a difficult position, like governments all around the world. It is a difficult time. But we are a stable government. We are a solid government. We have competent people. We have a clearly set goal and mission. And with the challenges we face with the pandemic, we can say, unlike most countries, that we have been surviving the pandemic, certainly from a fiscal standpoint, very well. We have challenges with crime, but we have our plans in place and we're steadily working through those. And I wish to assure the people of Jamaica that we will not be deterred, and we are on the job 24/7 working in your service. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will take a short break before we resume with the swearing ceremony for the Attorney General of Jamaica.